Hey everyone, welcome to QPTECH 1.5. So I am just going to step through my changelog, which is growing quite extensive. Kept poking at things and adding more things, and anyways, here we are. So the first thing to, I guess, take note of is the QPTECH API mod is no longer required at all. If it's in your folder still, it'll just be ignored. So it'll be kind of easier. Won't have to worry about whether you've remembered to download that API, which didn't really end up getting used anyways. So I guess the other big change is the power networks. And I don't know if you could see, depends where you're watching the video, but here it shows that this power network is generating 32, which is flux units, and using 68. Obviously it's not using them all at once, but that's how much potential draw there is on there. And it's storing 50,000 flux. So these new networks are a lot more stable than the original. There's no packets being passed around or getting stuck or any nonsense like that. So it's just, they form when you break or create networks. They will form together. There's actually a lot of cases where devices can just send power right between each other. So you don't need a wire for in every case necessarily. But it's a lot more stable. It works a lot better. And yeah, and I've done a similar thing with the Fluid network, which I introduced in 1.4. The big changes to note, these no longer contain fluid on their own, and when you start this world, you will end up losing fluid. Anything that's charged in the lines will be lost, which could be a significant amount, which was kind of the problem with the old system. You could never get rid of the fluid out of the pipes. The tanks themselves stay the same, so you won't lose any fluid out of them. But how it works now is the sides and the bottom of these tanks are outputs, and for the tanks only the top is inputs. So you can yeah, that's how you'll set it up, and it's almost instantaneous now. It also has barrel filling, which I don't believe I had in the last version. Let's see if we can do a quick, I got a lot to cover, so I'll try not to get bogged down, but there we go. See, it forms a spout automatically, and it will fill up as long as the barrel's not sealed. It will also stop filling if it sees a valid recipe. So if you put some, well, salt you can't put in first, but if you've put in, let's say some lime. I really shouldn't get into this right now, but basically you can use it to autofill fluids, and you can put one underneath too. And whoops, it will draw from the barrel as well. Let's just do that. I need an empty tank. So it'll draw out of the barrels. Now, if you're careful, you could turn this into a sort of processing system. You could do your multi-step blocks. Currently, there is, like, these are very touchy pipes, and if water ever gets in them, or whatever fluid, it can be tricky to change them over. You could still turn on and off parts with the wrench. So if you want to turn this off, just go like that. I know it's kind of hovering, but well, that's where it is right now. Yeah, so the pipes you'll find work a lot better. They won't get fluid trapped inside them. You can see I've got them running here. Not sure why that has a pipe on it, but this is actually an old world that I pulled up just to make sure everything worked. So let's move along from that. We got barrel filling, yeah. The LV punching machine, just a small addition. I still need to go and do models for these, but this guy will change your plates into drilled plates, so you don't have to do it on the smith. Small but important thing. I'm not going to cover all these in detail, but these are basically all machines that will probably be fully functional in 1.6. They are fully functional now. There's no recipe in survival for them. So you got the lathe, you got the new generator, which I will try and get out soon. It's actually, you'll see, let's take this for example. The turbine, the heater, these are new industrial blocks that, and the boiler and the crusher. So this would supply a crushing process to the attached blocks, and it is required for this new bloom block. So if this is powered and it's beside that, it will survive a crushing force to the bloomery block. And then of course you would also need heat, which you wouldn't, you could use this one or you could use the fire pit. I will make tutorial videos for all this, but then the bloomery would be able to function and make ingots directly out of nuggets. And the wire mill, if you make a QPTECH stuff, will be very handy. Basically, I just need to go through and do a pass, and obviously they need bottles, but also they need recipes and subparts, which this block is actually complete, other than animations, which you will find are turned off for most because they were causing stability issues, so I have to go back and sort that out. But this is the sheet roller. It will turn metal plates into metal sheets, which are an important ingredient for making, I believe, the fluid tanks and itself. And sheets are in the game already. They're vanilla things. And I have added recipes to them, just a hammer and a plate, at least for now, so that you can get started with the tech that requires sheets, which is basically these fluid pipes. But if you make the sheet roller, it'll be more efficient. You get 2 metal sheets out of 1 metal plate. And, oh, to make this thing, there's a whole bunch of new parts. So the electric motor is the big one that might take you some time to make. You need to make the stator. You need to make the rotor. And because these bronze machines can't handle steel, you're going to have to hammer out the steel rods. And we have the copper cable, which makes a braided wire, which is just made with a bunch of other copper wire, which the wire mill will be handy for that. I will try and get that out, like, pretty soon. And then this cracked crucible of liquid rubber is a sort of stopgap to get some rubber to make your cables, because ultimately that'll be done in a machine. And even though it's supposed to be molten rubber, I just put a crafting recipe in for now. So this crucible will be destroyed, like it will become this item, this cracked crucible of liquid rubber, and yeah, it'll be used up. That's kind of my I guess penalty or balance thing. I don't know. Eventually it'll all be done with machines, and you'll have a big melter and a mixer and all that fun stuff. But anyways, yeah, I think that's about it for the changes. And 1.5, it's, I don't know, overall I think you'll find it a lot more stable, a lot more usable now that I have these new networks in place, and the groundwork's there for future expansion. So yeah, it's look for versions hopefully a little faster, depends what's going on in real life. But yeah, thanks for watching and welcome to 1.5.